Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me here again. This is Mr. Ian from Mr. Ian Teaches English, and today we're going to do a bit of a boring lesson, but one that is very important. So, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that button. Let me know what types of videos you want to see in the future, but enough of me talking. Let's go listen to me talk. All right, let's talk about phrases and clauses. Now, remember, this is the first step in talking about a lot of other things. If you're trying to improve your writing in English, this is going to be important, but this is the first step in a series of clauses that we are going to talk about. And you kind of have to talk about phrases when you talk about clauses. So, why is this important? Now you say, Mr. Ian, this is usually the last slide, and you are correct, but I want to give you some incentive. I want to give you a reason for learning these, because honestly, this is a boring lesson. This isn't a lot of fun, but it is the building blocks. It is the foundation for some really complex ideas. So, in order to understand these following clauses, noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses, you need to understand clauses themselves. So, it's a little boring. Stay with me. We're going to use this a lot as we continue learning English. Clauses. All right. A clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb. Now, don't forget that. It's not a subject or a verb. It is a subject and a verb. And in English, we have two types of clauses. We have independent clauses that can be alone, and we have dependent clauses that cannot be alone. They need to be attached to something else. So think of your country. Maybe your country is an independent country, like the United States. We don't need other countries. We take care of our own people. We take care of our own rules and laws. We don't rely on another country. We are independent. Then take another country that is dependent, like Greenland, for example, that relies on Denmark for lots of stuff. Without Denmark, the Greenland people would have difficulty. So you can use that just as an idea to help you remember. So here's some examples. The tide came in on time. That is independent. Now, it's a clause because it has a subject and a verb. Tide came in, phrasal verb. But it is independent. It can be alone. Because he was alone, well, that's dependent. If you say because he was alone, what happened? What happened because he was alone? The information is not complete. So, it is dependent. The next one, he makes a good point. That is independent. It's a complete idea. You can understand it. Now, you don't know what the point is because we don't have context. But in the context of a conversation, this sentence can stand alone, and it is called independent because of that. And the last one, while he was watching TV. Now, this one is dependent because what happened while he was watching TV? You need more information. Now, you'll see here that the dependent clauses have a word at the beginning that kind of makes them dependent, and that's important. You'll watch out for those. All right, you can't talk about clauses without also talking about phrases. A phrase is a group of words without a subject and a verb. So be careful. It might have only a verb. It might have only a subject, which is difficult without a verb, a noun, but it's not going to have both. So look at the examples here. This morning. Now, morning is a noun, but it's not a subject because subjects come before verbs, and there's no verb here. Listening carefully. Again, listening is a noun. It's a gerund. No verb. Over the river and through the woods. No verb. It's long, but there's still no subject and verb. And at the end of the meeting. Again, no verb here, so we can't have a subject. We've got some nouns, but we don't have a subject and a verb. So let's do some practice with this. All right, let's do some practice here. We've got 10 phrases, clauses. I don't know. You tell me. So look at these and see if you can decide whether or not they are phrases or clauses. Remember, I recommend looking for the verb. No verb, it must be a phrase. If it does have a verb, look for a subject. If it has a subject and verb, then it is a clause. And you have to decide if it is dependent or independent. So go ahead, take a moment, pause the video, and I'll talk to you in a second. All right, so here we go. Number one, last night after dinner. This is a phrase. There is no verb here. Dinner is a noun. Last night, noun, no verb, so it cannot be a clause. This is a phrase. Number two, because he arrived late. That is a dependent clause. What happened because he arrived late? We have a subject and verb, he arrived, but what happened? We don't know. It's not independent. Number three, she died. Independent clause. Subject, verb, we understand it. Now, again, you don't know who she is. You don't know how she died. That's not important. In the context of a book, an article, a conversation, you would. The idea is you have all the information here to have a complete idea. You're not asking for more. So, she died, independent clause. Time was against us. Independent clause. Time is your subject. Was is your verb. It makes sense. Alone, it's independent. Number five, in the middle of a conversation. Phrase. No verb here. Number six, this is the last train. Independent clause. All right. This, your subject, is your verb, and it's understandable. You can understand it. Now, number seven is a little more difficult. Number seven, I may have tricked you. Number seven, speak slower. Boom, this is an independent clause, but let me explain. Speak is the verb. This is an imperative. This is a command. So there is an understood subject that we don't say. In English, when you give commands, you don't say, you speak slower. You remove the subject and just say, speak slower. So for commands, you will not use subjects, but they're still independent clauses. Number 8, after you finish that, dependent clause. We have the subject, you, the verb, finish, but what happens after you finish that? There's more questions here. Number 9 is another one that I hope you got. Number 9 is an independent clause. You say, wait, what? Mr. Ian, where's the subject? It's a question. And in questions, subjects and verbs are reversed in English. So the verb is are, the subject is you. Are you? It's a question. And number 10, by the time you arrive, a dependent clause. You, subject. Arrive is a verb. In the comments, let me know how you did. Did you get all 10 of them right? Are you angry about number 7 and number 9? You say, Mr. Ian, I don't understand those. We will talk about them in a future video. But remember those two ideas. Number 7, it's a command, which is a type of structure that we'll talk about. You don't use subjects in it. So it is still independent because it makes sense. And number 9, it's a question. So your subject and verb are reversed. Now what's next? Why did I make this video? I made this video because I plan to make videos very soon about adjective clauses, noun clauses, adverb clauses, and sentence structures. And to be able to understand those well, you need to understand these blocks, these building blocks, these pieces that we use in English to create sentences. So stay tuned for those videos. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so when I make them, you're the first ones to see it. If you have questions about it, let me know down in the comments. Let me know how you did on the practice. Did you get all of them right? And we'll see you next time.